Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York City, Kaustubha. Welcome to the show. Welcome, everybody, to Tuesday. It's sort of like a Monday because we didn't have a show yesterday. Call it Makeover Tuesday. We're merging Makeover Tuesday with Arranged Marriage Tuesday. And part of our makeover is we're going to arrange everybody's marriage. What do you think about that, Kaustubha? Check what we got in the mail. I got the new. We all got, actually. Kaustubha, you got one too. It's just getting caught up in the clogged drain of getting stuff to you. There's so many valuable jewels that get sent upstate to me and Mara. They never trickle down to New York City. We've got like gems, golden rings, various gifts. Comforters from Danny Stillwater. It's tons of stuff you're just not getting. Just kidding. You're getting one of these. This is Shama Sundar's new book. Just came out, and we're gonna get him on the show for the third time. But
Second time.
No, twice. Mara,
He's only been
Shama Sundar's been on twice or once.
I think just
Raghu.
once.
Oh man,
Only once.
maybe just once.
Yeah.
So it's good to be back. I did a marathon drive from a 16-hour drive Sunday. And you know what? I got hit in 9 hours of traffic. I literally drove from 3:30 a.m. to 3:10 a.m. That's like a 24-hour drive, man. And it was blissful. I tell you this, it was a blissful drive. Thanks to Sri Krishna Bhagawan.
Yeah.
I just listened to Chaitanya Leela.
Okay.
I listened to lectures. I played kirtans. I talked to students on the phone. I talked to Mara. I talked to, it was fun. It was a fun ride.
I'm glad you had a good time.
Yeah, it was a great time. Great for the kids. Kids played with other devotee kids. It was beautiful. I hung out with Gauravani and Vish for a week. It was really nice.
Raghunath, you've been telling us about this. We're familiar with all this.
You know all this. You know all this, right?
Yeah, even for days you've been talking about.
That's right. I forgot.
Yeah.
It's been a while. And tomorrow I head out.
Not that it's not wonderful. But...
It's okay. I don't want to. Tomorrow I head out to Germany.
Okay.
I'm looking forward.
But that's what we're interested in is what happened last night.
Oh, what happened last night? Went to Mara's boxing class. You never think that Mara could box, but she knows how to box.
She actually has a regular class? Like she trains people?
Yeah, she does. She's sort of a boxing
Mara, how did we not know about this?
It's new. It just started maybe a few weeks ago.
I knew she
of
did.
November,
I knew she did. But it was really fun. We did circuit training.
Mm-hmm.
And I can say, Mara's got some good moves. She's got some good head work, hand work.
I know. You got that Ali shuffle down.
No, with the double end bag, she's pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's not so good on the speed bag, and she's not great at working the pads, the focus.
Oh no, I thought I was doing well. You didn't think
You're not that good at that. You're not that good at that.
Yeah, well, I'll work on that.
But it was good to see her moves.
But what about? Did the two of you spar?
Not yet.
No, that's coming.
Well, that's when it gets interesting.
That's coming.
All right.
That was pretty
Can we
good.
get a video of that? Can we have that as a Patreon special?
That would be good, wouldn't it? Raghunath fights Mara, but in all love.
Yeah.
She could just sneak one. She's good with her uppercuts, I've noticed. She could get me right in the ribs.
That's
when
the
I'm
Mike
not
Tyson
ready.
thing, you follow it with that uppercut.
Mike Tyson uses legs too. It just comes up.
Who trained you, Mara? How did you learn this?
Yeah, I have an exceptionally wonderful coach. His name was Neil. He's retired now.
Okay.
But he's
Neil from Memphis?
No, not that Neil. Neil
Okay.
from over the river.
Was he like one of these cigar chewing kind of guys with the
Nah, he was really
broken nose
interesting. Yeah, he would have gone to the Olympics, but he got his jaw broken in like the
Oh.
late 60s. He was like he was in the Black Panther movement at one point, but he also has had like a 35-year regular meditation practice.
Was he
He's
black?
also an author.
Black?
Yeah.
Can you be in the Black Panthers and not be black?
I don't think so.
Yeah, he's an interesting
Would definitely
guy.
be a rarity.
Is that racist?
Come on.
Like I can't join their club, even if I really appreciate them.
Why don't we just move on, Raghunath?
What if
I have some
identify
announcements. I have some
Black
announcements.
Yeah, how about some announcements, Mara?
We've got a Bhakti recovery group. Men are meeting at 11 a.m. today and the women at 2 p.m. And we're going to do a Sweet Baby Krishna tonight at 7:30 p.m.
Beautiful.
for Patreon members.
Ooh, sweet baby. Bring it back.
And today's
7:30.
Vivi's last day coming on live because she's got a new job.
Congratulations.
I mean, I
Vivi.
guess weekends will still be there, though, right?
Oh, really? She's got a job right now and she's on the show all the time.
Well,
What the
because she's
hell?
getting a new job, she can't do that.
Well, she's getting a better
people
job
around
where
watching you and stuff
people are
like that.
watching. Yeah.
Yeah.
She upgraded her job and she downgraded her bhakti. Wah, wah.
They didn't downgrade her Bhakti.
Hey, but at least you're getting paid more.
Okay, you know what the big news is, though? Yesterday, the Sage Group started.
Alrighty.
Yeah. Chaturama Prabhu led a Sage Group. I think Parmananda led a Sage Group. Vraj Vihari led a Sage Group. Nadia led a Sage Group. Maybe Parmananda's today. I forget. And it's I'm just getting wonderful feedback already. So
Yeah,
you know,
I got
we'll-
some beautiful
you got some-
feedback from the people who did it.
Yeah. So, these are really incredible group leaders, So again, what this is that for people that listen to Wisdom of the Sages that want to go deeper and practice bhakti, you can join one of these sage groups. They're small groups. They're like about 7 people total. Each one is led by a more experienced Bhakti-yogi. And it's just it's a chance, it's it's discussing philosophy and so on, but it's not really like a class. It's more just like an opportunity to get together and share. It's a place where you can bring your questions forward, where you can bring your doubts forward, where you can bring your struggles or your victories or whatever, just it's a little sangha, and it meets weekly. And we've got about 100 people in it right now. We're just doing the beta version, so we didn't want to bring too many people in. If you wrote in and you haven't been placed in a group yet, we're working on it. And we're going to do this for a few months as a beta version. Then we're going to work out whatever kinks are there. And then we're going to open it up to more people probably like in late February. So we'll be sharing like information about it if you want to be part of a group, how to do that. But already it's kicking off, and already we're hearing wonderful things. So I'm really grateful to everyone that's participating.
Alrighty. You got some nugs,
All right.
sir?
I
Or
thought
should
you
I
did.
read the our Springsteen nug?
Oh yeah, read that Bruce Springsteen thing.
We got a Springsteen nug. Were you into
He was
Bruce
on
Springsteen?
the Late Show. He was on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
Were you into
And they asked
Springsteen?
him a question. When I was a little kid, I was really into him. Like when I was like 12.
I probably, if I heard songs, I'd know, but all I know when you say Bruce Springsteen, born in the USA, otherwise, did he do a little ditty for Jack and Diane?
No, wrong. That's pitiful. I mean, really.
Oh no, man! I don't listen. You know so much about music, man. I got into hardcore.
I listened
and
when I
punk,
was a kid.
Nothing.
Okay.
Then I went
Well,
on
he did Born to
Bhajan's.
Run. I mean, that's is probably.
I
his
mean,
most
like I
famous
said,
song,
if you
yeah.
say it, I'll know it. I know
Yeah.
that song, "Born to Run." You hear it at the supermarket. Baby,
But I think he's.
I didn't know it was him though. I didn't play his records.
All right. Well, I think Springsteen's I think he's a thoughtful man. I think he's a true artist, and I think he's like a thoughtful human being. And so he was on the Stephen Colbert show, and they kind of did one of those things where they ask you like 20 questions in a row, like real fast, like rapid fire. And they asked him, "What do you think happens when we die?"
Okay. And here's his answer. Ready?
Here's it. Yeah, let's hear.
Okay. Individual consciousness, adios. But our souls and our spirits, I think, grow and live on with the people we loved and who loved us. And the people who we think we've had an impact on with our work in our daily experience. So I'm going with that.
Okay. What do you think of that answer, Rowan?
Well, our individual consciousness, adios. What does he mean by that? Like our minds go?
No, I believe what he means by that is, in other words, right now I'm me and you are you, and we're separate from each other, right? Like you have your own consciousness and your own experience. I have my consciousness and my experience.
But then he says our souls and our spirits grow and live on with the people that loved us. What does it mean by that?
Well, to me,
we carry a little bit of piece of that person with us.
Well, this is what, when I hear this, it just it makes me think it's a little contradictory, right? In other words, if my individuality, if I no longer exist as an individual, and I assume he means that's for everyone, like, right? It's not just me, but it's everyone. Individual consciousness, adios. In other words, at death, we no longer exist as an individual anymore with our own experience as opposed to someone else and their experience. But
maybe we should bring him on for a walk on Wednesday and just challenge
him on for a walk on Wednesday. Let's talk. But if that's the case,
Bruce,
then how do you, if that's the case, if you lose your own individuality, and everybody does, well, then how do you grow and live with other individual people? He says, I think we grow and live on with people we loved and who loved us, but they don't have any individuality anymore either, apparently. So either we're individuals eternally or we're not. Now the Gita starts right there, right? Right when Krishna begins to speak to Arjuna. There's that verse, Natveva, what is it? Natveva ham jatuna
sham navam nimija natipana chaivana bhavishyama sarvevi amataparam.
Yeah. Never was there a time when I did not exist. Never was there a time when you did not exist, Arjuna. And never was there a time when all these kings on this battlefield did not exist. We all exist eternally, right? As individuals, mamai vangso jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana, as eternal fragmental parts. We have that. So Krishna is saying that it's not individual consciousness, adios. Krishna is saying individual consciousness is eternal. But you can see, like, within his answer, it seems like, we want to have love, right? There are people in our lives that we've loved, and it's hard to think that we would not exist with them in some way. And the heart kind of yearns for that. And at the same time, the heart also yearns for peace, right? In other words, individual consciousness seems to have caused me so much pain and so much suffering. So this answer seems to me to be like, a sincere wanting of, a filtering out of what's troublesome, in existence, and like maybe like a fond idea of like what it would be like without all the trouble. But I think that's just a fear. It's because we're existing in a realm wherein selfishness is kind of like the principle, where that individual consciousness leads to selfishness. It's individual consciousness that's impure, and that impurity is the selfishness that makes us conflict with one another, which makes us fight with one another, compete with one another, and so on. So we have both in this world. We have the joy of associating with others. We want to keep that, but we want to let go of the pain of associating with others. And his answer sounds to me like it's kind of like he's asking for both.
Do you think if someone dies and you sort of like really miss them and long for them, you're sort of like binding them to their old, like we're not allowing them to move forward?
I don't know. Everyone has their own individual path. But I think, in a sense...
See what Kaustubha's doing? Very interesting, everybody. Just listen up. I asked a question. This is very good. I asked a question, and he said, like, he didn't give me a straight answer because he only gives answers if he's heard them from sacred literature. He's not going to speculate,
I don't
which is
wanna
what I do on a
speculate.
regular basis. Well, I mean, I'm just asking a question. I speculate, but he didn't want to give an answer because he didn't have an authoritative answer. Therefore, he's like, I don't know. That's a safe thing to say. I don't know. So I'm just thinking, and I am speculating, if I'm very attached to someone and they died, maybe I'm holding them back from moving on to their next incarnation.
If
Maybe
your desire is
so
if your
strong.
desire, yeah, so strong.
And if
Stronger
yeah,
than their
and
desire.
if they're very attached to me, it's hard to let
You
them
gotta-
go to evolve, perhaps.
I might be holding you down, Raghu, when it's your time to go. I might be like, don't go, Raghu.
Okay. I'm like, let me go.
Let me go, damn it.
You're like, stay on this horrible planet. It's great. I was like, it's not. The light is trying to
I'm going.
lift me out of my body, and you and Mare are like, don't leave. We love you.
Let's go one more round. Come on. But you know, I think we do desire, like when we you see, there's really no logic. Well, let me point. The logic is like very surface level. We consider that our individuality is tied to the body because we see I have my own body, you have your own body, Mare has
Right.
her own body. Like there's individuality there. So we think our consciousness is individual, and it must be that our consciousness is tied to this body. You know, our individuality has something to do with this body, but and so when the body ends, individual consciousness ends. But let's think about it more deeply. You know, where's the evidence for that? Where's the evidence that, you know, if I'm driving around in a car and you're driving around in a car, you know, just because, you know, the car stops, it doesn't mean that that we can't get up and walk out of that car, maintain our individuality. You know,
Right.
So the way the Gita and all of Vedanta describes our individuality is it's not tied to this body. That the body is just a vehicle that we are in for some time, and then we take on another, you know, vehicle, and it's not that the individuality ends there, but it's maintained, and that's the Gita's teaching, you know, Bhagavatam's teaching.
Mm.
I think you got to spend a little time with Bruce. You know, you're both musicians.
Me and Bruce, I probably like him.
Yeah.
Mara told me my problem in life is I like everybody.
No,
I
no,
t-
no.
I didn't
like
say
to-
it was a problem.
She's like, you like everybody. It's going to be hard for you to sort your material life out.
That's his Samadarshana.
He's like, you're going to let everybody and anybody into your life. You'll just like people too much.
He sees the soul.
There I go. There you go.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's good quality.
I trust people too. I trust people. Kaustubha, it's Narayani's birthday. Forgot to mention.
Oh,
Narayani, a regular Zoomer. She turned.
It's just always something. It's an initiation one day, it's birthday another day. It's got a lot going on.
It's all about you, Narayani. No, just kidding. Narayani's very sweet and kind, and has been listening to the show like every day forever. And happy birthday. And as young as she looks, she's turning. Are we allowed to say? And we're just going to say it. She's turning 50.
Really?
Hard to
She does
believe,
look young
huh?
for 50. Yeah, I
Looks
would have guessed much
incredibly
younger.
young. It was those years of being like a drunk punk rocker in Leipzig.
I was going to say
kept-
pure
that-
living. I don't even know about
That's
the
what I
drunk
meant.
years.
Pure living, vegetarianism, yoga, that helped too.
Okay.
But yeah, Narayani, we're psyched, and we're going to see her next week.
Oh, we
This
should
week's
announce
interim.
that we're on today and tomorrow. Thursday we're off because you're traveling. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we're back
So what do
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And we had to. Oh, we should say what happened because Sunday we had meant to do the show, but we couldn't do it because Kaylee Woods, who we were going to interview, he was in England. There's some big storm there, and he was at some kind of retreat center, and the internet got knocked out or something like that. So we couldn't do the show on Sunday, and then Monday you were traveling. So we're back
cut us
now.
So cut us some slack, people.
Cut us some slack.
Okay, here's the Bhagavatam. Ready?
Yeah.
Narayanam namaskrityam niram chaiva nirotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated. In loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental transcendental songs is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in darkness, and my teachers are opening my eyes with a torchlight of wisdom. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Mara?
Do you think when those verses were composed that they foresaw like shelter songs? You know, transcendental songs, these glorified.
Squirrel!
Okay.
Reading from Canto 3, Chapter 28, Text 39.
Text 39. Oh man, I thought of a good new website for myself.
Squirrel.
Squirrel.org. No. Everybody's calling me the love doctor.
I don't think everybody is. Maybe a couple people are. Lovedoctor.com is probably taken.
He's probably taken. No, there's another one. Oh, you know what? One of our Zoomers, his parent is like might be dying, had like a stroke. And our prayers go out to him.
Oh.
But I was just saying, you know, get the Ganga water ready, you know, sponge bath with Ganga water, play kirtan in the room, read the Bible to him, slip in a couple verses from the Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. What do they call
Without
that?
even saying it.
Without even saying, like, I don't remember that in the Vyasadeva in the Bible. Sneak that in. My point is this. Actually, I'm just going to say it's Bob Healy's father had a stroke, so we love Bob Healy, and we're saying prayers for him right now.
I know.
He's a great guy. His father's a great guy. And Bob's a great guy. But anyway, my point is, what do they call that now? There's a new name for that. The dying doula? The death doula?
Death doula.
That's me. I think I might be the deathdoula.com. The spiritual death doula.
You know, Raghunath, these
doula.
people, these death doulas, they get trained for this. You know, they go, they go.
What do you think living in an ashram was?
No, that's not the same.
They don't get, do they get trained to spray Ganga water on them? Do they get trained to put Tulsi in their mouth? I got trained in that, my friend.
Okay.
It's not just like holding their hand. I go right in there, spray them with water.
They're not just holding hands either, Raghunath. All right.
Spiritual death doula. Oh, you can be the spiritual. You can. What did we call him again? The spiritual scientist.
Okay, this squirrel is going on long enough. Let's read text 39. Let's go.
Text 39. Because of great affection for family and wealth, one accepts a son and some money as his own. And due to affection for the material body, one thinks that it is his. But actually, as one can understand that his family and wealth are different from him, the liberated soul can understand that he and his body are not the same. So interesting, huh?
You get exactly what Bruce needs to hear.
This is important stuff. Affection for family and wealth. Do you think you ever had a dream like you're talking to someone and you're like, he's a good friend of yours in the dream, but it's actually not even a person that you know. It's just like a person in the dream, but you feel like this kindred spirit. You feel connected to them. And then you wake up, you're like, who is that person? And you can like see them. You can really understand their face. Do you think our relationships are like that? Do you think it's like me and Rocco, as close as me and my son are close together, that when we die, it's just going to be like, it was like a dream. I don't even know who this guy is anymore. Do you think it's going to be like that?
What do you mean you don't know who he is? In other words, the body's going to disappear.
I know, but I'm just saying, is it like we're all attached, completely attached, and then we get cut off, we put in a new body, and we just forget? And my whole last life is like a dream.
Well, that's generally what happens.
A little heartbreaking.
Well, you know, because we have this computer called the mind.
All these people that we love, it's like we're not going to even care about them. I won't care about you. I won't care about Mara.
Slow down. You know, we're moving through
love
a
it
mature
all?
world.
Why love it all?
Okay. Well, why ask me if you're not going to allow me to answer the question? So you know, we're moving through this world because we can call it a disease. Really, it's a desire, right? We're moving through this artificial virtual world because we have a desire, in a sense, it's like to be God, right? We want to kind of be that center of everything. But the thing is, everybody that's in this virtual reality has that same disease, you know, and that's why we're bumping into each other, and that's why and part of what we're trying to imitate, we're really trying to imitate that position of God, who's the center of all loving relationships. And we kind of come in and we want to establish these loving relationships, and according to our karma, these loving relationships play out in our life to one extent or another, to a more satisfying degree or to a lesser satisfying degree, right? Like some people have a life where it's just full of beautiful, loving relationships, and some people have like many people that adore them and love them, and you know, in one sense, that desire is being fulfilled. But if our karma is not so good, you know, if we've acted cruelly or callously to others and so on, stepped on a lot of toes, then it gets limited and it begins to shrink down, and those relationships become dissatisfying, and there's fewer of them, and so on. And so we're moving through. But when we do feel love and when we do feel a connection to someone, we feel like we need to hang on to that, and death becomes very scary. It's like, that's going to be gone. It's going to be gone forever. But what we're not realizing, if we step back, we zoom out, you know, we can realize that every living being, you know, not just the ones that have taken birth in our family, or not just that rare one that we've considered a soulmate or something like that, but every living being is composed of that same pure spiritual energy, which is just as lovable as the next person, right? And there's going to be no limit to the amount of loving relationships that are available when we get our heads screwed on straight, right? When we purify ourselves of that disease, then just as dear as we might hold any living being that we have a special relationship right now in this life, we can hold every living being with that same kind of dearness. And so there's nothing to fear, you know. Now, it may be that in the future, you know, in a future life, you would have that relationship with that individual can continue. Any desire can be fulfilled, and if that desire is there, even like when we see, like in Bhagavatam, right? When Dhruva, right, who's you know, as a young boy performs these intense austerities, and then he performs meditation on Lord Vishnu, and then Lord Vishnu appears to him and blesses him and empowers him in incredible ways, and then after many years comes his death. And how does do you remember how his death comes? Like what appears to him?
How Dhruva
Dhruva died? These kind of, well, what at the time of his death?
Was it a
yeah,
spaceship?
like this beautiful,
Spaceship?
like was it a flower one, or like a flowery kind of like spaceship comes for him to step on and take off? You know,
we've been talking about spaceship for 5,000 years. It's quite amazing,
material
isn't it?
Universe. Yeah, I mean, it's different. It's not like one of those saucers or anything like that. It was more beautiful.
We don't
than that.
know. We don't really know.
But
Flowers
then, as he's about to
saucer-like.
lift off, no, it's described there. No, it's
no,
not
but
like
in the
these
sky,
crude
if you were to see
machines.
it in the sky, it would just look like it would look perhaps like a saucer. My point.
Okay,
my
whatever.
point is this.
Okay.
My point is this. A lot of people are writing in
Your
and
squirrel
saying.
is with this.
A lot of people are writing in and saying,
No, but I haven't finished my point, Raghunath.
well, you
I'm
stopped.
addressing your
You put a
point that
period
people
on
bring
it.
up because you interrupted me about the saucer thing.
I was
So
having
what
a
I'm s-
conversation.
Okay, listen, just, you know, so Dhruva is about to take off, and he thinks, but what about my mother?
Yep.
Right? He's actually already lifted off, right? And what about my mother?
Hmm.
And they say, oh, no problem, just look back. And she's like following right behind in another ship, which seems to indicate that their relationship is going to carry on in the spiritual realm, right? So like, I'm not saying that there's no possibility of that, but I'm also saying there's no fear, because the love that we feel for someone in this realm, you know, we can feel even a deeper love for
Right.
them and for every other living being.
I believe that. And as Drew Lawrence, our regular astrologer on the show that a lot of people go to, he says we travel in groups. Like a lot of people have been writing on the board, and you know, like someone said, maybe Mara was your daughter, or maybe Mara was your mother, or maybe, you know what I mean? We switch around. You don't just leave those people.
Yeah.
You stay in clusters.
Well, there's that.
Maybe
There-
your
of course,
enemies
there's-
too.
Of course,
Maybe your
there's
enemies.
there's other shastric statements that say, you know, it's like in a stream, two twigs may come together for a moment and then split apart and never again, you know, meet each other. So we
There
hear those things as well.
There are people I feel like come into my life and they've done something, they've contributed, or they've hurt me or something, and I just feel like they're gone, and then I'm disconnected. But don't you have people in your life like me, right?
They're
You have
gone.
people like you have people like in your life like me that are like, we didn't plan to hang out for this long, but we've been in their life for decades. Paramananda. Paramananda never calls me up.
Are you
I told
implying
Mariel,
that
I
we
never
were
get a
together
phone
in
call
a
from
previous
Paramananda.
life?
But you know what? I can't get rid of Paramananda. He's been in my life since we were 15 years old. Not that I don't want to get rid of him. I'm just saying there's people you just travel with in this lifetime and perhaps lifetimes. And you probably had
multiple lifetimes.
Multiple lifetimes.
I mean, they say it's like, I don't know if there's any astrological, Vedic, Shastric reference to it, but they do like that. There's that Indian traditional idea that like a married couples that get married 7 times. You've heard that?
Yeah. Well, what does that do in America where you get married 7 times? People get married 7 times in this lifetime.
In one life. No, they get married 7 times.
Elizabeth
in
Taylor
7 lifetimes.
Has been traveling with 7 men.
I'm saying you marry the same person in 7 different lifetimes.
Yeah. Yeah. That could be true. Sometimes you switch gender. I've heard that.
Yeah, you could switch gender. And of course, there was the, what was it, the palm reader who told you about you and Rocco?
He wasn't a palm reader, my friend. He was a mystic.
Okay.
He had a city. He could just look into my eye and tell me all about my life, tell me all about my son's life. And then he said, my son is my father. Now, if normal people say that, I wouldn't believe it. If you like somebody from Zoom, if Charlie McKinnon came up to me and said, your son's
he had
your
already
father,
established his
Charlie.
credentials.
I'd be like, Charlie, but he already established his potency. He laid out some incredible information from the moment he looked at my palm. They're not palm readers. They're called mystic adjacents. I call them like palm reader adjacent. They're like borderline. They come off like palm readers or astrologers, but they have some acidity.
Okay. And what did he tell you?
What other things did he tell me? He told me it was the year we opened Super Soul. It was 2014.
He said Rocco in a previous life was your father.
Well, he said, first he said, you're opening ashram this year. Congratulations. Okay. Which I did. Right. I said, pretty good. He already earned his 100 rupees right there. And then he said all these very nice flowery things about my son, Rocco, which I take as a skeptic, like he's just trying to make some money.
Buttering you up. Yeah.
He's telling me, buttering me up so I give him some money. But then he started saying all these very incredibly accurate things about my life. Mm-hmm. And then he started asking, he said, every time you come to this holy place, your father who died untimely, he said, your father's making benefit. It's interesting to think. And we always say this too. We always say this, the best way you could preach to your mom, stop preaching to her. You just become God conscious. And anyone who's loved you, they get benefit from you becoming God conscious. Right? Okay. Sometimes we look, how am I going to help my mother? How am I going to help my father? Don't sweat it. Take care of yourself. Stop worrying about how you can help the world and save the world. Save yourself, work on your own heart, work on your own consciousness, work on your own personal integrity. And guess what happens? Everybody benefits. To the degree that they loved you and have loved you and will love you and look up to you and want to give to you and support you, etc., then they're serving the pure devotee, right? Yeah. You don't have to go out and bang them over the head with the Bhagavad Gita. That doesn't work. I tried that. I tried arguing with everybody in my my family at Thanksgiving, on every detail of like Vedic thought. Didn't work.
But I was going to say that that the palm reader said that Rocco was your father in a previous life, and then Rocco said, "Does that mean that I was married to Grandma?"
Does that mean I was married to Grandma? That was cute. He really just whipped that off quick. Yeah. Yes, it does, Rocco.
It does.
You're going to have to go live with her now, thanks to the palm reader. Take care of her like she took care of you when you were dying.
Okay.
It's interesting.
All right. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Text 40.
Spiritual incest, sort of. That's what it sounds like.
Hare Krishna, keep going. Keep reading these verses.
Okay. Text 39. Because of great affection for family and wealth. Okay. Text 40.
We read that.
The blazing fire is different from the flames, from the sparks and from the smoke, although all are intimately connected because they are born from the same blazing wood.
Okay. So we call this sambhanda jnana, right? Like with any kind of philosophy, there has to be like the understanding of reality, and then the practice to understand that reality, like to experience the reality, and then there's ultimately the experience, right? And in Sanskrit we call that sambhanda, abhideya, and prayojana. Right? We have to understand what's the nature of reality, how does it work. Then there's a practice to realize it, and then there's the full-on experience of it.
Trivia question,
And
Mara. Name the 3 deities associated with those 3 ways of approaching the Lord. You got this one?
No.
Okay.
Anyone want to? Yeah.
Sambhanda.
Put it on the board, people. See if you can beat Kaustubha.
Well, I can do it right now.
Sambhanda is, you can correct me, Madan Mohan.
Madan Mohan. Yeah,
Right? You go to Madan Mohan, please pray for my connection. And then Abhideya,
Abhideya.
Shri Govindaji.
That's right.
right,
Govindaji, yeah.
And then Prayojana, which is your spiritual self in the spiritual realm. How do you approach Krishna for that? And that is Radha Gopinath. You approach Radha Gopinath for that.
There you go.
Put that on your trivia list.
So this verse here, it's trying to help establish that first one, Sambandha Jnana. Sambandha means the nature of the connection, the nature of the relationship. And so it's saying the blazing fire. In this analogy, the blazing fire is the Paramatma or God, right? And the Paramatma is different from, here it says the flames, but in other translations it says like what's burning, right? Like the you could say the wood or the coal that's burning, right? And then there's the sparks. And what are the sparks?
No.
Raghu? Any idea?
I don't know.
If Krishna is the fire, what would the sparks be? We're the sparks, the jivas, the souls.
The jivas,
right? We have the same, the spark has the same
say the
quality
demigod.
as the fire.
I was going to say the demigods. I thought we were going in. Okay. We were going there.
Yeah, but so the spark has the same quality as the fire. What's the quality of the fire?
Well, what's the quality of the fire?
Yeah. 2 qualities.
Heat, light.
Heat and light. Okay, so the sparks also have heat and they also have light, but one is the source and the other emanates from the source. One is,
minute,
great in quantity, and one's very, very minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and so here the what's being burned as well as the smoke. These are referring to what's being burned and the smoke are being compared to the material energy. It says that what's being burned is the pradhana, and the smoke is I forget what they say, but it all has to do with the material energy. So there's the material energy, there's God, and there's the soul. There's all 3, and they all are individual, separate from each other, eternally, right? And that's what's going back to what Bruce said. Here Bhagavatam saying that our individual is eternal. It says, so although they are intimately connected, because they're born from the same blazing wood, they have their own individuality. They're different from each other. And then next, text 41 gets really
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as Param Brahma, is the seer. He is different from the jiva soul, or the individual living entity, who is combined with the senses, the 5 elements, and consciousness.
So we see, but what we see is very limited, right? The realm of our experience, the extension of our consciousness is very limited. But Krishna, he's part of Brahma. We're Brahma, so we're conscious and we experience and we see. But he's part of Brahma. So he's conscious and he sees, but he sees everything because he's Vishnu who penetrates into every atom. So his drista, his vision, the Yoga Sutras is going to speak of the soul as the seer, as the drista. But Krishna here, he's the, I don't know if it would make sense, but like Param Drista, right? He's the Param Atma, Param Brahma. Yeah, he's the ultimate seer. So he's within every atom. So he's on another level. So again, it's just trying to help us understand we are conscious, we are consciousness, we are spirit, but we're not that all-encompassing spirit. We have another source that we come from. And so let's realize, one, that we're not our body. But once we realize that we're not our body, let's not become confused and think that I am God because I'm eternal and I'm spirit and I'm transcendent, because there's still a source to our existence that's far beyond us. Okay?
All righty. Text 42. A yogi should see the same soul in all manifestations. For all that exists is a manifestation of different energies of the Supreme Soul. In this way, the devotee should see all living entities without distinction. That is realization of the Supreme Soul.
You know what we're getting here, Raghu?
In some 5th chapter Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, we're getting some 5th chapter Bhagavad Gita. And I was thinking, in one sense, in this whole chapter, like, let's go back and look at it, what we've gone through in this chapter. In one sense, we're getting it all here. We're getting the sambhanda, we're getting the abhideya, we're getting the prayojana. Now we're getting to the prayojana. In one sense, prayojana. Ultimately, prayojana means, like, one's full love of God manifests, prema, prema prayojana. But we saw early on in the chapter, it described what the practice of Ashtanga Yoga looks like. Do you remember back when we were back there? It was describing all the different limbs of the Ashtanga Yoga and so on. But then it defined what you're supposed to meditate on when one's achieved that ability to meditate deeply. And that was the form of Lord Vishnu. So then we heard a long description of the form of Lord Vishnu. And now we're hearing about the state of consciousness that yogi attains ultimately, right? That when you've practiced yoga and you focus your mind and you freed yourself from the influence of the material modes of nature. Here, this verse is a great description. The yogi sees the same soul in all manifestations. For all that exists is a manifestation of the different energies of the Supreme. In this way, the devotee should see all living entities without distinction. That is realization of the Supreme Soul. In other words, without this, just like we're talking about fire and wood, right? It's like, and we've shared this analogy before, but there's so many different kinds of wood. Right now, Banjo Mike is making some shelves for me. And he makes different banjos. Yeah, and he makes different banjos out of different kinds of wood. And there's, he said, what kind of wood do you want? We're going to do this wood, that wood. And each wood, people that really know about wood and that know about trees, they know all of that different trees have different qualities, right? You know some of that, Raghu? What are hardwoods?
Hardwoods, oak, maple, cherry.
Cherry. And softwoods?
Pine, birch, banana. That's not
banana.
Even wood.
Banana wood.
It's not even woody.
Okay. So then those different woods have different qualities, right? Like, what is cherry good for, or what is oak good for? You want to build certain things that's good, right?
Yeah. So you get something that's like rot resistance, good for fence posts, things like that. Cedar.
And then what do you use pine for?
Pine is not good for burning. It's bad to burn. It's good to start a campfire, but to build with it, I don't know.
Or you build
cheap furniture
something with it that maybe you're not as concerned about. Yeah, its longevity or something, right?
Yeah.
It's less expensive.
It's much expensive because they grow very fast because they're not dense.
Because they're not dense. Therefore they're softer.
They're softer. It takes less light for them to grow, and therefore it holds less light within the wood. It holds less fire. It means it burns very quick.
So now we're getting to the point. In one sense, the woods are very different, but the fire within them is exactly the same, right?
Is that true?
Like when you,
I'd like to talk to Banjo Mike about that.
You could talk to him all you want. It's fire. You can get, you could break it
well,
down
it's
like there's
fire,
a chemical.
but you go down to you burn like a walnut or.
Thanks for destroying this perfect analogy with your sort of speculative thought.
Well, I get it.
According
It's
to
hot.
Bhagavatam, it's the
It's
same.
hot. But
it's not hot. It's bright. It's hot. It's the exact same. But
I wonder if it can
gaseous
get
elements in
as
it.
hot. Okay, it's just
Well,
an analogy. Analogies
More
don't
than
have to
you
be
have of it,
perfect.
the hotter
anyway.
it gets. You
Banjo Mike, put it up on the board, please.
but this one is a perfect
Can
one.
oak get hotter than pine in a fire? Because there's levels
You just
of
had to bring
heat
more
of fire.
pine. You would just have to bring more pine.
I still
If you got a
think
twig
some
of
woods
oak and you
actually
got a
get hotter.
pile of, huh?
Let's leave it to let's leave it to Banjo Mike if this is a good analogy. But you're not gonna, what? Most people, if you're just giving a class, most people are gonna be like, "Yep, it's the same fire." They're not gonna even argue about this. But I'm trying to get a little. I'm trying to drill into it.
You had to.
I thought I had to like flex my wood speculation on you. All right, Banjo Mike's not even answering. Okay. Oh, where we go. Thomas Harry Bull says aspen burns hotter than pine in a wood stove. Okay. Anyway, we get the point, Kaustubha. Don't listen to old Thomas Harry Bull. Nope, you
Okay.
just need more pine to get the same BTUs. Okay, now Banjo Mike corrects me. Good analogy.
Now that you've ruined it.
Now that
go
I've
ahead.
ruined
Would
the
you read next
flow of
verse?
it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, text 41, text 42. Mara,
Text
catch me.
43.
Text 43. As fires exhibited in different forms of wood, so under different conditions of the gunas, the modes of material nature, the pure spirit soul manifests itself in different bodies. So interesting, huh? Text 44. Thus, the yogi can be the self-realized position after conquering the insurmountable spell of Maya, who presents herself as both the cause and the effect of this material manifestation, and is therefore very difficult to understand. That's for sure. All right, that's the chapter.
That's the chapter.
The next,
We can read a little bit from the commentary maybe. And towards the end, it says, it may be said that the activities of Brahman realization are different from those of conditional life, but that does not stop activity. Right? In other words, again, it's kind of going back to our Springsteen thing, that even after you've achieved liberation, you left the body and you're liberated, it doesn't mean you stop acting. It doesn't mean your individuality ceases. It doesn't mean that all desire is gone. You know. And he says this is indicated in Bhagavad Gita 1854. After one realizes oneself to be Brahman, realizes oneself to be spiritual energy and not the body, right? Devotional service begins then, right? Mad bhaktim labhate param. After Brahman realization, one can engage in the devotional service of the Lord. Therefore, devotional service of the Lord is activity in Brahman realization. Then he says, for those who engage in devotional service, there is no spell of Maya, and their situation is all perfect. And then he says the duty, and you could just, you could say the dharma, right? Because really that's what's being translated, right? So like the dharma of the living entity as a part and parcel of the whole is to render devotional service to the whole. That is the ultimate perfection of life. There's like there's a whole formula for happiness and yoga right there, right?
Yeah.
The dharma of the living entity as part and parcel of the whole is to render devotional service to the whole.
That's it.
Just like the part of any machine is meant to play a role in the functioning of the larger machine.
The key of the piano.
Yeah.
When separated from the piano, practically speaking, worthless.
Is it really worthless, Raghunath? It could have a lot of worth. Maybe it's not worth it. I don't know if your example.
It could be like a paperweight. It could be a paperweight, but it's most effective when it's contributing to the whole.
That's its dharma. That's its purpose. It's fulfilling its purpose.
So we have a lot of worth in this world. We can do things, and I can be the fastest runner, the longest swimmer. I can win Olympic records. I could be great at writing. It's that like that. The problem is all our good qualities in this world end up just contributing to my ego and my false identity. But when we engage in our nitya dharma, the dharma of the soul, then we start to wake up in who we actually are. The ego diminishes, and we actually feel like I'm doing what I was born to do. Because there's a lot of people, even people who are like excellent, who are superlative at what they do, there still will be that feeling of, what the hell am I doing with my life? What the hell am I doing with my life? I thought Mara was like smiling at what I said, but I think she was on the message board. Okay.
I was smiling at what you said.
No, you weren't. No, you weren't, Mara. It's okay. All right. You got any good takeaways for us today, Mara? It's 8:56. Is that all right? Did I rush that? But we are at the end of the chapter, so maybe I didn't rush it. You got something important to say, Kaustubha? You frozen today? No, he's just thinking.
Takeaways?
Yeah, what's the takeaway?
Please.
Okay. We are sparks of the eternal fire.
It's a good song.
Yeah.
We are sparks of the eternal fire.
Should talk to Bruce about that.
Yeah, that's like a Bruce Springsteen song.
Yeah.
We exist in a realm pervaded by selfishness. We're all diseased.
Wait. What?
Sorry. We exist in a realm pervaded by selfishness.
Okay. All right.
Not super uplifting, but
Yeah.
we're all
Makes a lousy shirt.
We're all diseased with a desire to be God.
Yeah.
There's no
That's a
limit.
bad one too. Bad shirt too.
There's no
Bad
limit.
shirt day.
That's a
This is what
bad
I got
shirt
you for
day.
Christmas, Mom. We're all diseased with a desire to be God. Thank you.
There's no limit to the amount of loving relationships once we're purified. Anyone who loves you benefits from your God consciousness.
That's a t-shirt, my friend. That's a
That's a good one.
t-shirt.
The fire is the same, although the wood is different. Save yourself, take care of your own heart. And our dharma is to serve the whole.
There we go.
Ooh, good segue. That was real pro. Boom. Thanks everybody for joining us. Whoo. Hey, it's time. If you haven't written in your story, we want to hear your journey, how you got into Bhakti. Go to Apple Podcasts, write a review. Tell us how you got here. It doesn't even have to be a review. Just tell us how you got here, how Bhakti has affected your life. Everybody, you got to understand, thousands and thousands of people read these reviews, and it's great. It actually helps us if you give us a 5-star review. But it also, we just want to hear your story. It's uplifting and inspiring. If you're feeling a little down in the dumps, just read those Apple Podcast reviews. It just lifts you right up. And there's a lot of us out there. There's a lot of others out there who are just trying to cope with this crazy material world. And you have a tribe. Thank you for letting us be part of your tribe. And yeah, it's a great day to share this with a friend. If you know somebody who's sitting on a spiritual fence, push them over that fence. Maybe write something down that something clever Kaustubha said, or that came out of my mouth, or Mara said, and write it down. Take a little photo of it, tag us, tag Wisdom of the Sages, and post it on your stories or on your feed. Isn't it amazing? We have all these new words that weren't there 30 years ago. My feed, my story. Who would say that? A follower?
It
You got a
meant other
follower?
things.
I got a lot of followers.